Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be answering all of your questions when it comes to our TTC journey, pregnancy, and motherhood related questions. Whew, literally already out of breath, wow. It feels so surreal sitting here again, filming another pregnancy update Q&A. Feels like just yesterday I was doing this with Truett, and now here we are doing this with baby number 3. Let me know if any of you have been here since Truett, or let me know if you've been here since Everly. That would be commitment. I am very excited to answer all of your guys' questions. There are a lot of good ones on here. So I'm gonna start with TTC, then pregnancy, and then motherhood. So that way, if you guys are just interested in one category, you can skip to wherever you need. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, tea, whatever type of beverage you prefer. I got myself a nice cup of coffee from this morning that I never finished. It's been reheated now like 3 times. Let's do this. Oh, if you are new here, hello, my name is Allie. I am a mother to a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and now I am currently pregnant with baby number 3. First question is, how long did you TTC with baby 3 versus the rest? With Everly, my first pregnancy, she was actually a surprise. So I was not tracking. Actually, I was tracking my ovulation, but that was because I was trying to not get pregnant. So I was tracking all of that, trying to avoid pregnancy. But we were at a stage where we were not being very careful, and we were like, if it happens, it happens. And it happened, and we were so excited. But with Truett, we thankfully got pregnant our first month of trying. I have a whole video dedicated to our TTC journey, and I will link that below for you guys. I give a bunch I hear them playing. But I give a bunch of tips on there and how we went about it. So definitely check that out. And then with this pregnancy, thankfully, we got pregnant our first month of trying as well. We took the same exact approach that we did with Truett, and very, very thankfully, we were able to get pregnant the first time. So I will share a few tips with you guys on what I think really helped us conceive quickly. Tracking your ovulation is major, and I recommend doing this months and months prior to when you guys are officially going to start trying. That way you really know your cycle and you really know your body. I did start tracking my periods, I think it was like 5 months ago. We were actually going to start trying in May, but we ended up starting to try in April. Also, I did ovulation strips. I will link below the ones that I use. They're just from Amazon, very cheap, and they worked perfect for me. I used them also when we were trying to conceive Truett, but that just made it very clear when my peak was. I ovulated a couple days before what my app told me that I was going to be ovulating. So that is why I really love using ovulation strips, because it's just very clear. And if I was just going off of my app, it wouldn't have been completely accurate. Would we have still gotten pregnant? Very likely. I know that sperm can live inside your body for up to 5 days, actually. How often is too often to do the deed? And how many days should you BD, and what days of cycle? I don't know if you can necessarily overdo it. I mean, I feel like overdoing it is just kind of unnecessary. I feel like there's 3 days that are like prime time to do it. So like the 2 days before ovulation and the day of ovulation. I personally think the 2 days leading up to ovulation might even be better than the actual day of ovulation. That's what I would do. That's what I recommend. And from all my research, I'm not a professional by any means, but this is just from my research and my experience. Have you ever had fertility issues? Thankfully, I have never had any fertility issues. I have had friends and family who have had fertility issues, and truly, my heart just goes out to people that deal with that. There's so many people that can relate to you, but when you're in the midst of that, I would imagine that you would feel very alone. So if you are going through that, just know that I would absolutely love to pray for you, and I know that is a real thing. And even people that have had a child and are going through a second infertility, people say, oh, well, you already have a kid, but it's still just as painful and just as real. So just know that all of your feelings, all of your emotions are very, very valid. When you were trying, how did you take your friend's pregnancy announcements? As I said before, I've never dealt with fertility issues, but I have been in the situation where I was ready for a baby and my partner was not. And so seeing my friends and acquaintances announce their pregnancy, there always was that bit of jealousy. Like, I was happy for them because it's so exciting, but like, there always was like, oh man, I wish that was me. And I don't know if anyone else can relate with this. I'm pretty sure people can. But even after like I had been pretty fresh postpartum, I would see pregnancy announcements and I would be jealous. Like, I don't know. So even when I was not like anywhere near ready for another baby, I would still have a bit of that like jealousy feeling anytime I would see a friend, just because babies are just wonderful. They're just so exciting and pregnancy is so amazing. And yeah, so next question is, what will be their age gaps? So Everly and Truett are 25 months apart, and this baby and Truett will be 2.5 years apart, right? And now moving on to pregnancy related questions. Due date. My official due date is January 9th. I've been saying January 8th because that's what our ultrasound was saying, but I don't know why my doctor just went with January 9th. That is what she told me my last appointment. So January 9th is what they have me down for. Will you find out the gender? Yes, we are finding out the gender actually tomorrow. I am going to be taking the test that is going to tell us what the gender is. So stay tuned for that video. It'll probably be right after this video. If you could choose boy or girl, that's a toughie. If I'm gonna be real honest, if I could choose, I would choose a girl, solely because, and honestly, I'm just saying this from my perspective, obviously God's the one that is in control and he is the one that sees everything. He sees the whole picture, the future. So I trust him and his plan, and I will be just as excited between boy and girl. But the reason I say girl is because Truett is very, very content. He is good playing by himself. He is good playing with other people. He's just kind of very go with the flow. Now Everly, she longs so much for a little sister, and I just want that so bad for her. She just wants to do all the girly things, playing dolls and Barbies and dress up and all that. And Truett will play with her, but he's not gonna sit down and play Barbies with her. Like, he'll play babies. They do play so great together when it comes to being a brother and a sister, but she just longs so much for a baby sister, and I just want that because I am so very close to my sister and I just want that for her. But ultimately, I will be so thrilled either way. I absolutely love having a boy. He is just the joy of my life. He's so funny, and boys are just fun. They just are fun. Girl, I mean, both, really. They're so very, very different, but solely that is why I would say girl. TJ very much wants a boy for honestly kind of the same reasons that I want a girl, because he's very close to his brothers and he wants Truett to have that brother bond. Hopefully God will give us another one of each, but obviously we can't choose that. Since I found out I'm pregnant for the first time, I'm wondering, on your first pregnancy, what you were most nervous about, the actual pregnancy and labor and delivery. I was probably most nervous about the actual pregnancy. When it came to labor and delivery, I was completely ignorant at all the things that could possibly go wrong. So I really wasn't nervous about that, and I had always planned on getting an epidural, so I really wasn't afraid about the pain because I was like, I'm getting an epidural. So I would say I was most nervous about pregnancy for the same reasons I get anxious now. Early stages and later stages are the hardest for me, because the early stages, you just don't know what's going on in there. You're just kind of trusting that everything is okay, and that's hard for me. In the later months, you get nervous because the baby is so big and the movement really slows down. And every time I hit that stage, it makes me a little extra anxious. Are your other kids excited to have a new sibling? Everly is beyond excited. She has been asking me if I have a baby in my belly for the last year. She's been so ready. Truett, he's still only 2, so he doesn't quite understand, but he does. If you ask him where the baby is, he'll point to my belly, and it's so sweet. When we're praying at night, he always wants to pray for the baby inside mommy's tummy. So how is it going from 1 to 2? And how are you feeling about 2 to 3? Honestly, I think going from 0 to 1 was the hardest mentally. I was very ignorant on motherhood, and I had all these expectations about what I felt like motherhood was going to be like, what I was going to be like as a mother, and I was very hard on myself. But then when it came to going to 2 kids, I was definitely more confident when it came to my motherhood. It was just harder physically on me because of how rough I had it with Truett when it came to sleep. Day to day, it really wasn't too bad. You know, you just kind of find your rhythm, find what works for you. It takes a little bit, but it's really, you just kind of do it. I don't know. Your mommy instincts kick in and you just do it. How I feel from going to 2 to 3, you know, TJ and I are definitely going to be outnumbered now. So I guess that is what makes me a little nervous. I just know that we'll figure it out and we'll find our rhythm and our routine, and it's going to take a bit, just like it did from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, now 2 to 3. How has this pregnancy been different from others so far? This pregnancy has been almost identical to Everly's pregnancy. With Everly, I was very tired. And then with Truett, I was very sick. And this time around, I have definitely been more tired than I have sick. I don't really know if that means I'm having a girl. I really don't think that probably has anything to do with it. Maybe it does, but I don't know. To be honest, I feel like this baby's a boy. Maybe because I just had a boy and that's what I'm used to. So I will be shocked if it's a girl, to be completely honest with you. How do you handle rough pregnancy moments when you're sick and tired with other children? Great question. Before I got pregnant, I very much mentally prepared myself for what was to come because I've been pregnant before. I know what it feels like. And so I just told myself this pregnancy, I was not going to be hard on myself. I was not going to have mom guilt if I needed to lay down and I needed to get the kids on the bed with me watching a movie. I just have to know that's not going to be forever. So if you are in that moment, I just want to tell you to give yourself grace. And if you are home with your kids, put on a movie and lay down with them. I promise they are not gonna feel neglected by you or anything. Will you have help postpartum from family? Definitely. I will definitely have help. I live close to my mom and I also live close to my dad and also my sister. She's very helpful as well. I also have a lot of good friends. So yes, I will definitely have help. How are you feeling? Thank you for asking. I am feeling pretty good, definitely compared to the first trimester. Definitely having issues with heartburn. Still getting pretty bloated, not near what it was in the first trimester, and just still very tired. I have not experienced that second trimester energy at all. I'm still very tired all the time and I have to lay down during the day. There's just no way I could get through it. Have you gotten any embarrassing or TMI symptoms like gas or farting? Yes, that is just like a part of pregnancy, y'all. That's honestly one of the first symptoms you get is gassy and bloated. I feel like what's worse than pregnancy bloating, correct me if it's different for you, but for me is postpartum bloating. Oh my goodness, that is brutal. I did want to recommend a product to you guys that has helped me a lot with like nausea. So anytime we're getting ready to like go in the car or I start to feel sick, I will take one of these. And these have helped me a lot to fight that nausea feeling. So I definitely recommend trying these. Just like little snacks throughout the day make such a huge difference when it comes to fighting morning sickness. Like first thing in the morning when you wake up, have crackers, nuts, something by your bed that you can eat first thing when you wake up, because when you are hungry, that is when the morning sickness is the worst. Now we're gonna move on to motherhood questions. How do you deal with a nighttime routine if you're by yourself? So I am actually by myself a lot when it comes to a nighttime because my husband rotates from day shift to night shift like once every month. At the first time he did this, I was very nervous of how it was gonna go. But you find your routine, you figure it out, and now it's nothing. This is probably the thing that I'm most nervous about when I have the third baby, is when the baby is going to be fresh and TJ will not be there at night to help me. I'm probably going to be recruiting my mom or my sister, depends on how well the baby sleeps. But thankfully both of my kids totally sleep through the night now, so I know that is going to be very, very helpful. My biggest advice on that is just figuring out your routine. Y'all, moms are tough. We just get things done, and it's hard, yeah, but you're a mom. You are strong and you can do it. I absolutely know you can. How to combat burnout. My rope is so short since getting pregnant. This is something I deal with even when I'm not pregnant. Burnout and motherhood is so real. It's just like where you go and go and go until you just reach the point where you're like, I cannot go anymore. For me, the best way to combat my burnout is to be very open with my husband. So if I'm feeling it that day, I'll shoot him a text if he's like at work and be like, hey, I just want you to know I'm feeling very burnt out today and I really, really could use your help, whether that be just to get away for a second and have a shower alone or have a bath or sit and watch a movie, or just get out of the house for a little bit by yourself. That really, really helps me with my burnt out. Is just being alone and decompressing is huge for me when it comes to being my best self. That is probably the most helpful thing for me. It's just being very, very open in my communication with my husband, but not coming at him with, babe, I just need you to take the kids. I just need to get away. It makes such a big difference on how you approach it with your partner, because if you just throw that at him, that can be very overwhelming. It's all about your communication. That is all the questions I'm going to be answering today. If you have any other questions, definitely leave them below and I will get back with you. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.